I'm Beverly Setzer with Lake Washington Symphony, and I have here my bass clarinet. It's an extra big clarinet, and if you play clarinet, it has the same fingerings as a regular soprano clarinet. Everything's just bigger, and it plays a lot lower, like down here, which is really fun. You get a nice and rumbly sound. It has similarities to a saxophone. You might notice that it has some of the same shape as a saxophone, and that's because the inventor of the saxophone, Adolphe Sax, perfected this shape of the bass clarinet. And bass clarinets existed already, and he worked on them to try to make them play better. And this is the shape he came up with, and then he used this shape when he invented the saxophone. And one of the reasons why it has a curved neck and then a curved bell is so that you can actually sit down to play it. If it was all straight, you'd have to sit on a stool or stand up maybe. But with this shape, you could actually sit in a chair and it ends up coming right to your mouth, which is awfully handy. And bass clarinets really came into their own probably in the 1800s, early 1800s to mid 1800s. But they didn't really start using them in orchestra very much until the late 1800s. And I'm going to play you a little something else here. This is from Grand Canyon Suite by Ferd Groffet. And this one, you're supposed to be like the burro going down the canyon on the trail, and you'll hear the burro. They use bass clarinet a lot when they want something to sound funny, or sometimes when they want it to sound scary in movies and cartoons. So next time you hear a movie or a cartoon, listen for the bass clarinet. You'll probably hear something scary. And so parts of the bass clarinet, it has pretty much all the same parts as a regular clarinet, but I have a ligature that's kind of not what you typically see. This is a little more typical. So you have your reed, and you have your mouthpiece, and then you have the neck. And the neck has two parts, but you don't usually take apart this part in the middle. This is where you tune the bass clarinet. You could pull this out and push it in. If you are sharp, if your pitch is too high, you pull this out farther. And if you're flat, you push that in and make the bass clarinet shorter. It has a peg so that the bell doesn't sit right on the floor, and also so you can adjust the height. So here's the bell. And it comes apart in the middle. You have to be careful when you're taking it apart or putting it together. It has what's called bridge keys. I'm not sure how well you can see those. Those two keys that lift up right there, right in the middle, they overlap from the bottom joint. So you open these keys here to lift those up when you're taking it apart. So here's all the pieces. So you put it together here. Sometimes at schools, they'll have a bass clarinet that doesn't come apart in the middle. So you don't have to, sometimes you don't have to worry about that piece. Here's the bell. My bell has a key on it, and yours would too, probably. You have to lift up that pad so it doesn't run into anything as you're putting it together. Here's the peg. It has a little screw here, holds it in place. And the neck. This one, it lines up. There's an octave key. You can see that. It's called a register key in a clarinet. And you line that up. Put on your mouthpiece. And you reed. You lick the reed. And you line it up with the window on the mouthpiece. The tip of the reed lines up with the tip of the mouthpiece. You don't touch the tip of the reed because they're fragile. When you're adjusting it, you adjust it on the sides, like that. And down here. You can push it up and down with this, or here. And when you try playing, you'll notice if you don't get it lined up very well, you'll be like, oh, it's not working. So you have to line it up just right. And then you can like wiggle it around with your thumbs right there. You need to adjust a little bit more. I personally really enjoy playing the bass clarinet because I love those low notes. They just make me feel really good. You play that down there, down low, like, It's just so fun to play those low notes, I have to say. And I already played clarinet. I started playing clarinet when I was 10, and then when I got into college, they handed me a bass clarinet, and they're like, here, play this. And I'm like, okay. And I just really, really liked it. Bass clarinets in band, usually you have the bass line. A lot of times you're playing what the tuba's playing, so you might not have as many notes, but what you do have is really important. You can also just play just straight up music. You don't have to only play what they're giving you in band. You can play solos, you can play duets with your friends, and I've been playing duets with my friend Jenny, bass clarinet duets. And then you can keep playing band. There's bands after high school. You can keep playing your whole life, have a really good time with your friends, playing some nice music, and having a great time your entire life. It's fun, it's social, and band in junior high, you'll go to some festivals, you get to go travel a little bit with your friends, and then in high school, you do it some more, and it just gets funner and funner the better you get at it.